You meet a woman who pulls you in instantly. She's intelligent, magnetic, different, and just when you start feeling momentum, she shifts. One day she's warm, responsive, almost intimate. The next, distant. Slower replies. Energy gone. So let me ask you something uncomfortable. Are you chasing love, or are you being slowly trained to tolerate confusion? Not every mixed signal is harmless. Some are tests, some are red flags dressed as chemistry. And if you don't know the difference, you won't just lose her. You'll lose time, clarity, and a piece of your masculine edge. Today, I'm going to show you the only 5 signs that justify staying. If these signs are not there, you walk. This isn't about chasing harder. It's about knowing when she's worth the effort. I don't teach men how to pursue blindly. I teach you how to read women like strategy, not emotion. If these patterns aren't present, you're not winning her. You're being pulled on a string. If you value emotional control over emotional chaos, like and subscribe. Now let's start with the first sign. Number 1, she tests you, but she stays engaged. Let's get something straight. When a woman sees potential in you, she doesn't immediately surrender certainty. She evaluates. And evaluation doesn't always look polite. Sometimes it looks like distance. Sometimes it sounds like sarcasm. Sometimes it feels like she just pushed one of your emotional buttons on purpose. She cancels once and watches how you react. She teases your ambition and studies your posture. She goes quiet for a few hours just to see if you spiral. And here's where most men fail. They think every test is rejection. So they panic. They overtext. They over-explain. They try to prove. Or worse, they get defensive and emotional. You lose the moment the second you lose your center. Understand this. A test is not an attack. It's an assessment of your emotional stability. She's asking one silent question. Can this man handle pressure without collapsing or exploding? Women test when they feel intrigue but not certainty. When attraction is present, but long-term safety is still unknown. She's measuring your frame, your patience, your ability to stay composed when the emotional temperature changes. And here's the truth most men don't want to hear. A woman doesn't test a man she sees as weak. She tests a man she's considering. But listen carefully. There's a line. If she occasionally pulls back, but still responds, that's testing. If she challenges you playfully, but still invests time, that's testing. If she questions your leadership, but still shows up, that's testing. But if she humiliates you, if she belittles your goals, if she attacks your character, that's not a test. That's disrespect. And high-value men do not negotiate with disrespect. You don't stay to prove yourself to someone who enjoys shrinking you. You don't earn love by tolerating degradation. There's a difference between a woman checking your strength and a woman feeding her ego. Now here's how you respond when it is a test. You don't react emotionally. You don't chase reassurance. You don't try to win the argument. You stay grounded. If she pulls back slightly, you don't lunge forward. You mirror the energy. Calm, steady, unbothered. Imagine this. She creates drama over something small. Instead of defending yourself frantically, you pause. You smile slightly. You hold your position without hostility. You don't try to fix her mood. You don't collapse into apology. You don't escalate. That composure shifts something in her, because she expected reaction. And what she got was stability. Attraction grows in the presence of emotional strength. When you pass a test, she relaxes, not because she won, but because she feels safer. She sees that you're not fragile, that your mood isn't controlled by hers, that your masculinity doesn't crack under pressure. But here's the filter you must never forget. If she's testing and still investing, stay. If she's testing and withdrawing, walk. Engagement is the key variable. She must still be present, still responsive, still leaning in, even slightly. Testing without investment is manipulation. Testing with investment is evaluation. And if you can't tell the difference, you'll either leave too early or stay too long. Your job isn't to avoid being tested. Your job is to pass without losing yourself. If this first sign is present, you continue. If not, you don't chase confusion. Number 2, she lets you into her world. There's a massive difference between a woman spending time with you and a woman integrating you into her life. One is entertainment. The other is evaluation for permanence. If she introduces you to her friends, that's not casual. Her inner circle is her filter system. Those are the people who've seen her at her worst, protected her after heartbreak, and influenced her decisions for years. When she brings you into that space, she's not just showing you off. She's observing how you fit. Does he command respect? Does he stay composed? Does he blend without shrinking? Women do not risk social credibility for a man they consider temporary. Pay attention when she starts talking about the future, even subtly. It might sound small at first. You'd love this place we should go next month. Or, my friends are planning a trip later this year. Or even bigger, conversations about career plans, moving cities, long-term dreams. When she speaks about the future and you're naturally placed inside the picture, that's not accidental. That's subconscious inclusion. And here's what most men miss. Future talk is not fantasy. It's alignment testing. She's scanning for compatibility, values, vision, direction. She's not asking, do I like him today? She's asking, could he exist in my life long term? If you were just an option, you would stay compartmentalized. Private meetings, isolated dates, no social crossover, no meaningful integration. Let me be blunt. If months go by and you have never met anyone important to her, you're not in her world. You're in a waiting room. Now, don't confuse exposure with validation. Some women introduce men to friends for ego reasons, to show they have options, to generate attention. The difference is pride. Watch how she presents you. Is there warmth in her tone? Does she speak about you with respect? Does she subtly highlight your strengths? Or does she downplay you? Keep things vague? Avoid labels? Integration comes with ownership. And when she shares her past, childhood stories, family wounds, previous heartbreaks, that's another layer of entry. She's allowing you access to emotional history. That requires trust. Casual connections don't get archived memories. Permanent candidates do. But here's your responsibility in this stage. Don't overperform. Don't try to impress the entire room. Don't morph into someone else to win approval. Just observe consistency. Does she continue bringing you into more areas of her life over time? Does the integration deepen? Does your presence feel natural rather than hidden? Because if she opens the door once but keeps you in the hallway, that's hesitation. If she opens the door and keeps expanding access, that's investment. And remember this line clearly. When she integrates you into her world, she's not playing. She's evaluating permanence. If she opens the door to her world, she's not unsure about you. She's measuring your fit. Number 3. She shows jealousy. Jealousy is uncomfortable. It's messy. It can look irrational, but it is rarely meaningless. Watch what happens when another woman gives you attention. Maybe it's subtle. A longer glance, a playful comment, a casual compliment. Suddenly, her tone shifts. She asks questions she normally wouldn't ask. She becomes more present, slightly more territorial, slightly more alert. That reaction matters, because jealousy is rooted in perceived value. It appears when someone feels they could lose something they care about. Let me say this clearly. A woman who feels nothing shows nothing. If she truly saw you as irrelevant, she wouldn't flinch. She wouldn't care who texts you. She wouldn't adjust her energy. Indifference is silent. Jealousy makes noise. Now understand what's happening psychologically. Jealousy is fear mixed with attachment. It signals that she sees you as desirable, not just to her, but to others. And that recognition triggers a protective instinct. She doesn't want to compete for something she thought was secure. But this is where immature men ruin everything. They weaponize it. They flirt harder in front of her. They intentionally provoke. They manufacture scenarios to trigger reactions. They confuse insecurity with attraction. That's not strength. That's manipulation. And manipulation destroys trust. You don't need to manufacture jealousy to feel powerful. If your value is real, it will naturally create attention. And if she feels something genuine, she will respond without you orchestrating it. Your role here is composure. When she shows mild jealousy, you don't mock her. You don't shame her. You don't escalate it. You acknowledge calmly. You reassure without overcompensating. Notice the difference between reassurance and apology. You don't apologize for being desirable. You don't shrink your presence to make her comfortable. But you can communicate stability. Relax. I'm here. That energy is enough. Jealousy, when handled correctly, deepens connection. Because underneath it is vulnerability. She's revealing that losing you would affect her. And that matters. But again, there's a boundary. Healthy jealousy looks like momentary tension. Questions, increased attention. Unhealthy jealousy looks like control. Accusations, isolation tactics, monitoring your life. If she tries to control who you talk to, that's insecurity dominating behavior. That's not attachment. That's instability. However, if she reacts emotionally but still remains respectful, that's investment. Jealousy is often the first external sign that internal attachment has begun. She's no longer neutral. She's no longer detached. She feels something at stake. And that changes the dynamic. Because once a woman feels she could lose you, attraction sharpens. Her focus increases. Her effort subtly rises. If she reacts when she could ignore, there are feelings. Number 4, she's inconsistent, but she keeps coming back. This is the one that drives men insane. One week she's affectionate, engaged, leaning in. The next week she's distant, slower replies, less warmth. You feel the shift immediately. It's like emotional weather that changes without warning. Hot, then cold, present, then absent, close, then guarded. And the confusion starts eating at you. But here's the key question. Does she disappear permanently, or does she always circle back? Because those are two very different dynamics. If she fades and never returns, that's disinterest. But if she pulls away and then reappears, if she reconnects, if she restarts the conversation, if she finds her way back into your orbit, there is something unresolved inside her. Let's dissect this carefully. Inconsistency can come from fear of intimacy. When feelings start getting real, walls go up. She withdraws to regain control. She creates space to calm the vulnerability she didn't expect to feel. It can come from attachment anxiety. She wants closeness, but closeness triggers old wounds. So she pushes away the very thing she desires. It can come from past trauma, previous betrayals, emotional burn scars. She learned that getting too close once cost her something. None of these are excuses, but they are explanations. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If she had zero feelings, she wouldn't return. People don't repeatedly re-enter situations they feel indifferent about. Indifference walks away cleanly. But don't romanticize inconsistency. There's a difference between emotional conflict and breadcrumbing. If she pulls back, reflects, then returns with slightly more clarity, that's internal struggle. If she pulls back, comes back the same way, repeats the pattern without growth, that's ego feeding. You are not a placeholder for someone who enjoys attention but avoids accountability. So what do? You become the anchor, not the chaser. You don't panic when she pulls back. You don't send paragraphs demanding reassurance. You don't overextend to pull her closer. You stay steady. But listen carefully. Steady does not mean endlessly available. You maintain your life, your routine, your mission, your pace. If she steps back, you don't freeze your world waiting for her to decide. And internally, you set a boundary. How many cycles are you willing to tolerate before it becomes disrespect? Patience builds attraction. Tolerance builds resentment. Know the difference. If she returns and the pattern softens over time, if the hot and cold gradually stabilizes, she's working through something. If she returns and nothing changes, she's testing how long you'll stay without clarity. Here's your decision filter. Is she confused about her feelings? Or is she comfortable using your consistency while offering none of her own? If she's wrestling with emotion but still investing when she returns, you can stay grounded and give space. If she's repeatedly inconsistent without accountability, you walk with composure. Because a man with self-respect does not compete with chaos. Remember this. Attraction can survive temporary uncertainty. It cannot survive permanent instability. And if she keeps coming back with increasing emotional honesty, that's potential. If she keeps coming back with the same emotional fog, that's a pattern. Learn to read the difference. Number 5. She opens up when it really matters. This is where everything changes. Anyone can be charming when life is easy. Anyone can flirt when the mood is light. But vulnerability? That only shows up when defenses drop. Pay attention to when she chooses you. Does she call when she's overwhelmed? Does she share fears she doesn't post online? Does she tell you about the insecurities she hides from everyone else? When a woman reveals her fears, her doubts, her emotional scars, she is not performing. She is risking. Vulnerability is the highest level of trust. Let's break this down psychologically. Every woman has layers. The public version, the social version, the guarded version. And beneath all of that, the unfiltered version. The one that carries anxiety, past heartbreak, childhood wounds, silent pressures. Most men only ever meet the surface. When she starts peeling back those deeper layers with you, she is testing something different now. Not your charm, not your confidence, your emotional capacity. When she trusts you with her chaos, she sees you as emotional safety. That sentence matters, because this is where men sabotage themselves. She opens up about stress at work. You jump into problem-solving mode. She confesses insecurity. You dismiss it with logic. She talks about a painful memory. You try to fix it. You think you're helping. But what she's actually evaluating is whether you can hold space without controlling it. Emotional maturity is not about solutions. It's about stability. If she cries in front of you, do you panic? If she admits fear of losing you, do you mock it? If she shares something heavy, do you minimize it? Or do you stay grounded? When she chooses to be vulnerable during difficult moments, not just during romantic highs, she's signaling that you matter beyond attraction. She sees you as someone who can witness her without judgment, and that is rare. Casual flings don't get the unfiltered version. Temporary options don't get late-night confessions. Men she doesn't respect don't get access to her emotional storms. But again, there is a boundary. Vulnerability must be reciprocal over time. If she only unloads pain but never invests stability, that becomes emotional dependency. Healthy vulnerability deepens connection. Unbalanced vulnerability drains it. Your role is simple but powerful. Listen. Don't fix. Don't judge. Don't shift focus to yourself. Stay present. Stay steady. Stay contained. Because when a woman feels safe enough to reveal her weakest moments, she is no longer evaluating whether you're attractive. She's evaluating whether you're dependable. And dependability is what turns attraction into attachment. If she comes to you when she's strong, that's chemistry. If she comes to you when she's breaking, that's trust. If she shows you her unfiltered self, she's not testing your charm anymore. She's testing your depth. You don't stay because she's beautiful. You don't stay because the chase feels exciting. And you definitely don't stay because you're afraid to lose what was never fully yours. You stay when the signals are clear beneath the chaos. When she tests you but keeps investing. When she integrates you into her real world. When jealousy reveals emotional stake. When inconsistency hides internal conflict, not manipulation. When vulnerability replaces performance. Those are not games. Those are indicators. But if those signs are missing, understand what's really happening. You're not winning her. You're negotiating with uncertainty. You're spending emotional energy on someone who hasn't decided you're worth emotional clarity. And the longer you tolerate confusion, the more you normalize it. A man's value is not proven by how long he can endure mixed signals. It's proven by how precisely he can evaluate them. Discernment is power. The goal is not to chase harder. The goal is to recognize when effort is reciprocated, even if imperfectly. Because effort without investment is self-abandonment. If you're done being confused, if you're ready to read women with clarity instead of emotion, subscribe. Comment which of these signs you've experienced and which one changed the dynamic for you. And share this with a man who needs to stop chasing and start evaluating. Not every woman is worth the effort, but the right one will show you before you have to ask.